Dear friends, acquiring time management skills is very essential for every successful life. In this lecture session, we would like to see what are these skills, and if one prevails on acquiring these skills continuously, definitely he can master the skills. I wish my best luck for every student to acquire these skills so that he or she can lead successful life. The contents of this lecture are adapted from the book Time Management 24 Techniques to Make Each Minute Count at Work. Better living, every minute we waste in frustration over a task that seems overwhelming is a minute subtracted from the time we have allotted to enjoy life. So even 1 minute we are spending in frustration means that is subtracted from the life. We don't want even a single minute in a work day. And if our work days are filled with such enjoyable work, then the whole life would be very enjoyable and time management would be very good. This is the aim of this lecture. When we manage our time more effectively and efficiently, we reduce stress and frustration. We become confident and we feel better. A work day, when you are doing all the things as per you have decided, then always you get this kind of confidence. So why every day should not be that day? For that we are learning this. Each of us is different. We each work differently and live differently. We do succeed using different methods. Means time management skills for everybody will not be same. So one has to consciously adopt the right time management skill to his or her personality. There is no right or wrong way to manage time. What is right, which gets the right results. If the skills or the techniques are getting right result for you, then they are the right results. You need not worry about what is the experience of other people. Time management is not just about knowing systems, strategies, techniques. It is about using them. You have to consciously use time management techniques, then only you can master those things. All it takes to be open to change. We need to be open to accept the importance of the time management skills and adopt in our everyday life those skills, then only we can get the right results. Time is a resource to pursue goals. We have subconscious feeling about time. Most of us not aware of it, but there is this kind of feeling for everybody. Most people have a poorly defined sense of how they spend their time. So we need to understand and make it clearly defined for us. Know how you feel about subconsciously. For time, how we are feeling about subconsciously is very important. Is it something to be felt? Is it bully or enemy? If bad times are there, we may feel that time is enemy. If some work is to be done in a short time, then time you may perceive as a bully. Or sometimes we do some activity just to fill in the time, and that is really not a good way. If we learn the time management skill, then we'll definitely able to put all the time that is available to us to pursue our goals, and that is what is required. Is it a resource that you used to pursue to goals? The answer should be yes, and we should all strive to acquire the time management skills and master them so that we can pursue our goals. Every day is filled with a series of choices. Track how you spend your time. Make note of your activities and the time you spend on each of these activities. Analyze your use of time. Which activities took the most time? Generally, the way we perceive the time, we feel that we have spent the time on constructive activities, and actually we spend the time. It may not match. If we make a conscious attempt to understand the difference between these two, that will help us in a great way to master the time management skill. Which activities should take less time? They should take less. So we can identify those activities. Time management is made up of series choices, and these series of choices, if they are turning to be correct, then the overall time management will be good. Even if one or two choices is wrong, we should not get irritated or frustrated. That we should learn from the resilience skills. It is important to setting priorities so that we manage our time well. Good time management requires setting priorities, and in setting priorities, we accept that time limits must limit our choices. Every choice that we undertake, whether we are going to a movie or we are going to canteen with our friends, there should be time limit to that activity. We have to be reasonable about this as well. We should not be too unreasonable that our regular relationships get hampered. Conquer mild obsessive compulsive behaviors by using 4 R's. It is important to recognize the importance of the activity and the time limits. It is important to realize them. We have to resolve if the discrepancies are there, and if the activity that we are undertaking is not conducive for the better time management skills, we have to replace with a better activity. Recognize that the behavior produces more stress than results, then it is to be avoided. The behavior which is you are continuing with the activity and not producing any stress, then that is what is desirable. Realize that it is okay to let it go. See, if event occurs, you spend 5 minutes on that event and later on you are repenting it, the repenting loses the time. One should acquire the skill to let go. Whatever has happened, let it happen. For this, the resolving skills are essential. So we have to have this habit of resolving the issue, whether this is important or not. If we learn that it is not important, we should not repent and immediately continue with some other activity. And this other activity should not produce stress. So replace it with a behavior that is much less stressful but at least effective. And when we are spending every moment that is available for us in solving the work problem at hand or in continuing the work that we have at our hands, then definitely the overall feeling of time at workplace will definitely be very good. We have to be reasonable with time management. Be reasonable about the time management. Accept that it may not be smart to try to figure out the most effective, efficient solution. Sometimes we do not get the optimal solution, but we can continue with effective solution that is at hand. Do not obsess over finding the best solution. It is often best to settle for one that is very good. Sometimes in trying to find the best solution, we spend large amount of time on the activities which we later repent. So it is not necessary to find the optimal solution, but one effective solution so that everyday life becomes time easy and we feel time affluence in our life, so that the well-being feeling will be increased. Do not slip into type A behavior. This type A behavior is of the perfectionist. So nothing in the world is perfect. We have to live in an imperfect world, and sometimes as a human being we have to give permission to ourselves to be human. That's why we should never indulge into type A behavior and try to avoid the people with type A behavior, because once we are with these people, the behavior we may acquire, and this contagious nature of this behavior should be avoided. Avoid perfectionism, and then you will get true efficiency. One of the most common forms of obsessive behavior, and one that can interfere with true efficiency and productivity, is perfectionism. The illusion that we can do anything perfectly prevents some from doing anything well at all. You might have come across your friends who were trying to do an activity in the best possible manner. They think days together to do that activity in the best manner, but they do not start doing it. Unless you start doing it, you will not be able to do in the best way. So for the first time you are trying to do that activity, try to get an effective solution instead of the perfect solution or the optimal solution. That will be a great help in the time management skills. People who are least vulnerable to stress tend to exhibit the following characteristics. These characteristics are, they have many friends and acquaintances. They eat regular meals. Their food times are quite regular. They sleep well. They always get restful sleep, so that next day when they are going to work, they are relaxed. They are not under stress. They are healthy. They are neither overweight and nor underweight. They feel comfortable with their income. They gain strength from their spiritual belief. It is important that for good time management skills, to acquire good time management skills, we should have good spiritual belief, if we are indulging in good spiritual activities, calmness of the mind will be there, and the calmness of this mind will prevent you in going stressful situations. They are open about their feelings, they express their feelings, and they accept the feeling, they try to understand the feelings of the others, so they are affectionate by nature. They belong to at least one social group, so that the relationship component in the well-being is contributing to their overall growth. So it is important that while managing the time, we should take into account all the elements of the well-being. We have to be time aware. List the most enjoyable activities. We can incorporate the most enjoyable activities when we know them. It's why we have to understand what are the enjoyable activities that we have. Manage your time so that you can enjoy regularly, because this will burst the stress, and once the stress is not building in your daily life, your time use will be very good. Reduce the pressures that result from having too much to do in too little time. If we are cramming the day with many activities and we are not able to complete all those activities, at the end of the day we are bound to feel stressful. So we can avoid by understanding the time limits of each of these activities. By not cramming too many activities in a day, we can avoid the stress at the end of the day. This is very easily possible if we make a conscious attempt to make that. Make yourself more resilient. See, resilience is the ability of the person when he gets temporary failures, temporary obstacles. So he is not spending on thinking on the temporary obstacles, but the ways how to overcome if they occur next time. They will jot down the strategy, and once the strategy is jot down, they are forgetting that. They are continuing with this work. So the more a person is resilient, his lost time in thinking about his past failures or past mistakes will be minimum. This will help in improving the time management skills. We have to create opportunities. Develop healthy behaviors to counter the effects of stress. See, if you are feeling stress, we have to have some behavior which will reduce the stress. Unless we consciously include those behaviors in our everyday routine, this will not be possible. So we have to create the opportunities for that, and it requires also time. Time management can create opportunities for creativity, meaning, and pleasure. Once we know that well-being constitutes with meaning and pleasure, and a particular activity which is enjoyable by you, you are incorporating in your free time slot, it is not only replenishing you by reducing your stress, but it is contributing to your overall well-being as well. And in turn, it will be the same for the people around you. It is important to personalize time management style, because no two persons are same. The time management style for every person will be independent. We are all different. So it is quite common. It is very easy to understand that each person has got a different time management style. You should develop a time management style that suits you. Some strategies apply to most people in most situations, like setting priorities, planning, and delegating, but others must be adapted to your style. So particularly in my case, I have the habit of reading, but I cannot read one book of one subject. I have to read 2-3 books. So I always divide the time slot between engineering books, then some readings, the self-help book, and then some literature. So that gives relaxation, and it is possible that instead of whiling away the time when you are changing from one activity to other activity, you know the changeover will be swift and you can save time. Become aware of your approach. You may like to complete one project before moving to the other. Then this is the linear fashion of working. So if you are indulging in linear fashion, you have to adapt your style to that. Or you may be holistic in your approach. You enjoy juggling multiple tasks at the same time. Then you can undertake components of an activity once all the components are done, but you can simultaneously work over 2 or 3 components. But at any one point of time, you can only work on one component. You may be sprinter. You work to get bursts of energy and then need to recharge with moments of activity and rest. So, one can work very vigorously for a short duration, that is called a sprinter. Then after that time, because he has lost lot of intellectual energy and physical energy in doing that activity, he requires a relaxation. He requires to replenish his energies. So he will be using significant amount of time to replenish the energies, and then again he will come and sprint. So if your personal style is like sprinter, you have to manage that way. Or you may be a cross-country runner. You work at an even pace and steady pace. Generally, long-distance runners, they require different skills, and short-distance runners require different skills. Likewise, if you are aiming to do a very big project and you can continuously work at an even pace for very long interval, then that is very good. For the sprinters, he has to be given the sprint times and then relaxation time, because sprinter cannot work for a very long time at one stretch. So everyone has to adapt whatever the personal time management style is there and the project on which he is working, along with the people around him who are working in his or her group. It is important to accept individuality. Whatever your work style, you should adapt time management strategies and techniques to your psychological and physiological makeup. If we do not do this, then the stress will build up and we may not be able to continue to work for longer duration. Sometimes this is not possible. If this is not possible, then you have to make best effort to suit how you can get a combination of what you like and the people in which you are working. So that right balance will help you in bettering your time management abilities. It is important to recognize and accept the individuality in applying time management principles. So if you are working in a group, it becomes a really complex problem. If we communicate properly with each other and accept each other's time management styles, then the work in a group will be very good and the relationship will be flourishing. Otherwise, teamwork will become a big problem. Managing time within framework is important. If you accept that you can manage time within the framework of your own style, you will free to find joy in well-organized life. You can overcome barriers that may be keeping you from managing your time better. So it is important that we have to manage the time within the framework only. I cannot ask everybody to change. It's just that they change their behavior to match my time management style. So collectively we have to arrive and manage the time so that everyone is putting his or her best in the work. It is important to prioritize the work. We can prioritize with the style ABC. A work is critical and immediate. If you cannot postpone the work because of the positive time, that work should be done immediately, now only, then you categorize that work as A and give immediate time slot. Sometimes the work that is assigned to you, it may not be immediate. It is to be done very quickly, means in a short span of time. It is not that time sensitive as the group A is. But if you dilly-dally and spend time in other activities, that B task may become A task and it will become immediate. So if we are maintaining the list of the tasks and prioritizing them by labeling A and B, then we can definitely manage. In addition to that, when the task is not time sensitive yet, but in future it may become time sensitive, then I can list that task as C task. And we all find in our everyday life that many times we are assigned many tasks and what happened to that is never asked at all. So if we know that there are some tasks that are coming to you because of the exigencies at that moment, and a follow-up on that is not going to be taken and they are not important, you can put them in the D category, that is called as option. When the tasks that are coming to you, you are able to categorize into A, B, C and D, it will be really easy for you to manage your time. The beauty of the ABC system is that the emotions that are attached to the task are taken away. Once the emotions that are attached to the task are taken away, you are able to dispassionately look at the task and prioritize them. This should be practiced. Then only we can do properly. So we have, because we are human beings and emotion is our fuel to work passionately, we attach wrong emotion with wrong task. With practice, we can attach right importance to the right task and prioritize the set of tasks that is given to us. We can prioritize the task with some other principle also. That is called as Pareto principle. A small number of items in a group, that is vital few, are more important than all other items. That I will call as trivial many. The key to effective prioritizing is to determine the 20% more or less of the important tasks that will produce the greatest returns, that is 80%. That means 80% of the task you can remove from list and put it in the other category if we are able to prioritize in this manner. So one can adopt the prioritizing style which he likes or which he becomes adept at by practicing it. Working smart is very important. Pareto principle gives you this idea how to work smart. Pareto principle says that 80-20 rule is generally there. 80-20 rule should serve as a daily reminder to focus 80% of your time and energy on the 20% of your work that is really important. Don't just work smart, because just working smart is not enough, but if we are working smart with the right things on the right tasks, then we will work intelligently. It is important to work intelligently to master time management skills. Setting goal, then you will get some time. Goals are essential for time management. Allot a good block of time to setting goals. True, you will have less time for the activities, but it is one of the best strategies for saving time. At the beginning of the day, if we are spending 15 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on the task at hand on that day, and prioritizing them, then that is very important. You will be able to identify priority A, B, C properly, as well as if you are using Pareto principle, then 80% which are trivial many, 20% which are vital few. If you are concentrating on vital few, so you are using your time in the best possible manner. This ability can be acquired by practicing. So every day, at the beginning of the day, if we are spending some time, then that time will be very well used. And this habit in the long run will produce very good time management skills. Goals should be attainable, they should be written, and they should be with deadlines. You cannot make the most of your time without knowing what you are trying to achieve over the short and long term. Because a long-term goal is cut into many short-term goals, and these short-term goals should be clearly written, they should be attainable, they should be with clear deadlines, they should not be too ambitious, they should be as far as possible realistic. Once we are in the habit of writing down the goals and the steps how to attain the goals with their strict time limits, and we are making ourselves accountable for that, then acquiring time management skills will be very easy. So we have to learn this by making deliberate efforts of writing down the timelines, writing down accountability. Sometimes you cannot blame yourself by being wholly accountable for a task. Then if it's a teamwork, you have to get all the friends who are working on that project together and see to it that nobody develops time related stress in his or her work. One must use time productively. When you are setting goals, plan your setting of the goals to better enable to achieve them. Usually, institute and home environments are for the interaction. And when you are interacting with many people, to concentrate on difficult tasks becomes important. Study is one such. If studies or certain other responsibilities require, you have to be required time and you need to be alone that time, then we have to schedule the time, and those scheduled time by looking properly on how we are spending time in a day, we have to spare those time slots. Those will be internet free zones, internet free times, those will be phone free times. Then we can undertake the studies which require deep concentration. Every student must master the skills of reserving time slots to study the subjects which he or she feels difficult. Carving out a small amount of time each week to devote to reviewing your goals can work wonders for providing the focus you need to allocate your time productively. So not only every day in the morning, but every week, maybe Saturday or Sunday, we are sitting at one place and trying to look at how we have spent time in the last week, which was the amount of time which was not used productively, and how I can reduce that time which I had not used productively is very important. Here, Stephen Covey's books, How to Effectively Deal with These Things, help very much. Many management books which stress on weekly managing of the time are important, because if we are trying to have plans only for a day, then many times we cannot cater to the emergencies of the work. So in a week, if we decide what is the amount of work that we want to do, then even if you are not able to complete the assigned task on a particular day, that can be completed on any other weekday, and overall at the end of the week, whatever time management you had thought for yourself, you can comply much better. So one of the best ways to acquire the time management skills is, see, you can plan for every day, but you keep another plan for a week. So this everyday time management plan plus the time management plan for a week will give you a very effective strategy for better time management. We must learn to say when we want to say no. The most important word in the time management is no. People often place demands on our time and energy. Saying no is very crucial skill. Unless we are not able to say, we are able to say no, we cannot avoid the external stress on us of getting the work done. Many times people pass on their work to ours. That may not be very important to you, but because they are asked to do the work and they want that somebody else should do in their place, then a strict no will help to avoid such instances. People often demand on our time. They place demand on our time and energy. Saying no is a crucial skill. If someone asks you to do something, ask what it would mean in terms of the energy if you are to decline. Give a good reason, be diplomatic, suggest a trade-off that, see, this task can be done by you if you acquire these skills. Because as the task is not yours, somebody else is imposing on you, it is better to say no so that you can use your time in the better way. Take lesson from you. Just say no to wasting time and energy. Even for ourselves, when we are wasting time, we must be able to say no. This is the time which I am wasting. We can reduce the time. It is possible to use this strategy for one's own work as well. Know how to say yes. Maybe you can say yes to request to which you might otherwise say no. So we have to learn which are essential, we have to say no, but when it is not essential, we have to say yes as well. We have to learn this skill. Find way to produce satisfactory results that take less from you. Delaying decision, sometimes it is better to delay a decision, then that work may not come to you, but every time this may not be a very good strategy. Be courageous and honest. People often say, let me think it over, to delay no, even make it unnecessary. Sometimes we know for sure that the work is not assigned to you, somebody else is trying to thrust that work on you. And when you are modest and saying that let me think it over, then it is not a correct way. It is essential for that time to say no. You are studying and you have put that time slot for the study of a difficult subject. One of your friends come to you and request to go to a movie. You must have the temerity to say no to him. Even if that person is not happy with you at the moment, if you are persisting with your behavior, definitely that friend of yours will adopt to your time management skills, and when both of you keep free time, then only you will go for a movie, and he will have a better respect for you than earlier instances. If you cannot and will not do something, say then and there itself, because it is not necessary that you should delay and then say that thing. Delaying a decision is justified only in intricate situation. In everyday life, many times these such intricate situations do not arise. But because of modesty, we are not saying no. We must learn to say no when it is essential to say no. Then only we can master the time management skills. Otherwise, it is really very difficult to master these skills. Declining responsibilities. Least current responsibilities that you should have declined. How will you decline such responsibilities in the future? Of course, sometimes political and pragmatic considerations make it impossible to say no. That times you must have the ability to say yes and complete those responsibilities. Then whenever you get some opportunity to express your feeling that you were thrust with the responsibility which was not expected, then those people will also be able to understand, and you can maintain the relationship, which is an element of well-being, which is the ultimate currency. So it is important that time management skills, unless we practice deliberately, we cannot master them. We don't have to do everything everyone wants us to do. So when we don't want to do, we must have the ability to say no. And if we are saying yes to everybody, then the life will be a very, very difficult thing. And you also don't have to do everything the way everyone wants you to do. Because once the task is given to you, as the person who has assigned the task is expected of the result and not how the task is done, you must be given the freedom. And you must express that you want that freedom. Anticipating and planning is very essential for time management. Things go wrong, as every day we find. We expect something, we anticipate something, and the events occur in the other way. So we have to adjust the plan and then correct it. If we can anticipate possibilities, we can make plans and not much lose time. See, if you are undertaking an activity and it has got two outcomes, if you are planning for both the outcomes, then you need not wait after getting the outcome what to do. So this is thinking through the situations. It is important that for better time management skills, we have to anticipate and think looking through the situations that are going to arise after completing the present task at hand. Always assume that things will take longer than expected. Once this is there, then time-related stress will not arise, and you will feel that time affluence is there, and it is very important for the happiness. Allow more time than you think you will need, and you will need. Anticipating is important in time management. For the first few instances, your anticipation may go wrong. But if you keep on with the habit of anticipating the time limits for each of the tasks that you are undertaking, in the long run, your anticipation will be very close to what you anticipate. So the time limits that you can set for each of the tasks will be abided, and that will boost your confidence, and you will hone your anticipating skills. It is very important that we learn these skills at an early age, so that when we enter into the professional life, we have already mastered the necessary skills of the professional. Every professional in the world does this, and most of the successful professionals, you will find that the sense of time affluence will be there in the behavior, but their everyday schedule is packed with many activities, and they are carrying out all those activities very happily without feeling the stress for doing all those activities. This is a skill which is must for every willing professional, a professional who want to become successful professional. That's why it is very important to anticipate and plan. We cannot avoid all problems. So some of the problems which we cannot avoid can have emergency solutions. We can often limit the impact of the problems and save the time and effort as well. So it is important that if we cannot avoid the problem, what will be the outcome of the problem can be anticipated. If the outcome is not one, multiple, then for all the multiple outcomes, what would be the best strategy so that the damage can be controlled and you can immediately come back. If resilient nature is there of all the work people, the time to recover from the problem and continue with the regular work will be very easy and it will be done very quickly. If we are not anticipating and planning, then a problem may spoil many hours at the workplace. So by anticipating and planning, we can avoid the precious time that we spend at the workplace in damage control activities. It is important that we indulge in socialize as well. It has been found that the number one of the 6 greatest time wasters is socializing. But in the well-being, relationship is an element for the ultimate currency. Unless we socialize, we cannot get that element. Socializing is reasonable, in reasonable amounts, increases the job satisfaction and raises the morale of the people around you. Because you are talking to the people, they can express their problems, you can give your solution, you can express your problem, they can give their solutions. But if we are spending too much time in socialization, that is not really very good. The need for socializing is affected by personalities, the nature of the jobs and the requirements of the task and the other activities at the time, mood and the workers. So this element of socializing is very important and we have to see to it that appropriate time slot is there, not more, not less. Tips for socializing are, if you are an extrovert, set limits. If you are neither an extrovert or nor an introvert, then maintain your balance. Most of the time, such people are able to balance their socializing time very nicely without any deliberate attempt. If you are more an introvert and socialize more, and if you are an introvert personality, then to get some kind of relationship, you have to be extrovert. An element of extroversion is essential so that we get that relationship component of the well-being. So if we are trying to keep time to socialize, that may be a small amount of time. That will help in improving the work conditions at the workplace, and as the relationship among the friends or at the workplace is improved, the time management will be much better. Socializing in moderation is a tonic, so use that as a tonic. Socializing in reasonable amount boosts the job satisfaction, it boosts the morale of the person who is socializing and the people at the workplace as well as in family and other places where he plans to spend the time. It improves the productivity as well. In moderation, it is a tonic and we must socialize so that we can get the benefits of this tonic. It is important to keep track of the things. Number 2 of the 6 greatest time wasters is misplacing things. The average person loses about 3 hours a week searching for the lost thing. If you access things quickly, you save time. So this is a very easy, this can be easy to learn with practice. The number 3 of the 6 greatest time wasters is forgetting things. If it is important to remember, write it down. Make life easier for your mind, because now your mind is freed from recollecting where you are what thing. Use it more for thinking and less for remembering things that you could easily write down and that you risk forgetting if you are not writing it down. Writing things down is important. We are surrounded by information, facts, numbers and names. Everything cannot be remembered. So if we are writing, then our working memory will be freed for thinking. It often happens that we remember things we don't need and forget things that we need. With practice, this can be reduced. But my experience is such that completely removing is really very difficult thing. It requires a lot of expertise. It takes much less time to make a written note than to search for a lost thought. Of course, what is important is that you should know where you have kept the note. 50% of all you hear or read will be lost within 1 minute. So it is better if you perceive that whatever thing that you are hearing is important, write it down. And when you get time, you just go through the list and keep those notes which you have made so that you are not missing any important thing. It is important to travel wisely because it is number 4 of the 6 greatest time wasters. We can get more out of our travel time than simply being bored or frustrated. When we keep books with us, we can have cell phones or we can listen to the motivational tapes, or if we carry laptops, when we can continue on the small tasks that are at hand. So that travel time can be used in a very nice manner. Read better and less. Number 5 of the 6 greatest time wasters is reading unnecessary literature. Reading is an essential means of getting useful information. The information explosion and unreliable sources of information should be dealt with proper strategies. We have to learn to say goodbye. Number 6 of the 6 greatest time wasters is long-winded people. Long-winded people have habits that they drop in any time. Then you pretend that you are busy. So some of the strategies that are listed, you can screen the calls, and if a person is on the call who is going to talk for long hours, you can stop that call. If you are talking to a person who is long-winded, you stay standing so that the person understands that you have some important task he leaves. So we can evolve strategies. Keep check on your watch so that the long-winded person understand that you are in time scarce mode. Angle your body away from that talker so that he gets the inkling. On phone or in a person, just make your point at the start that you have some time restriction. Be alert for the signs that others might consider you a talker. We need to be very alert, because as we are expecting that others should not eat into our time, we also should not eat into the time of others. It is important to be time aware. Sometimes our perspective on the time differs when we are the ones we are talking. Are other people using these strategies with you? If you ever find yourself wondering whether or not you are going to too long about something, you probably are, then immediately stop. It is very important to stop immediately there, because you are feeling that too long is there. Using tools wisely is very essential element in time management. In today's internet connected world, there are many tools available. But you have to use it wisely. Do I need that tool? You must ask before using that tool. Do I need all its features? Is it easy to use? How reliable it is? How long it will take my needs into account? If you are changing the tool too frequently, then many times it takes time to learn the tool, and by the time you learn the tool, you are changing the tool, means you are not using your time properly. You fit the tool to your needs. A comfortable and ergonomic chair, lighting bright enough for all the work areas, a comfortable and constant temperature, a window, sufficient workplace, storage for the active materials. These are the essential tools in any work life. If every professional is trying to acquire the management skills, then as this slide shows that there is a tree which is grown in the garden, and this is the most visited tree. You are a professional, you have acquired all the skills, but nobody is approaching you because you are not time aware and you are not giving the service in time to others. That should never happen. I wish all my students to become time aware and see to it that you become a very successful professional. Unless you acquire the time management skills, even if you acquire skills and knowledge, those will not be used and you may not become a successful professional. For every successful professional, becoming time aware and mastering time management skills is an essential task. I wish best